The Galactic Council had existed for over 12,000 years. In that time, they had encountered hundreds of species, established trade routes spanning 27 galaxies, and developed technologies that bent the very fabric of reality. Yet nothing in their vast archives had prepared them for humans. Commander Zex Talara of the exploration vessel Celestial Harmony stared at the holographic representation of Earth with his 4 eyes blinking in confusion. "Impossible," he whispered. "Absolutely impossible." The science officer, a tall Malosian with glistening scales, approached with the completed analysis. "The data is verified, Commander. These creatures have survived not 1 but 17 extinction-level events in their planetary history. Their cellular structure contains dormant genetic sequences that activate only under extreme duress. They call it adrenaline, but our analysis suggests it's merely the surface layer of something far more profound." On that day in 2127, when the Celestial Harmony entered Earth's orbit, Jack Collins was tending to his small farm in rural Ohio. He'd served in the Third World War as a simple foot soldier and had seen enough bloodshed to last several lifetimes. Now at 52, all he wanted was peace. Little did he know that the alien ship hovering above Earth's atmosphere contained beings who viewed him with a mixture of fascination and terror. "Their historical records," continued the science officer, "suggest that when threatened, a single human can manifest strength equivalent to 3 Horgath warriors. They have continued fighting with severed limbs, survived conditions that would kill any reasonable species, and, most disturbingly, they seem to grow stronger after each catastrophe. Commander Zex Talara made a decision that would alter the course of galactic history. We will approach with extreme caution. These humans must never be provoked. The Council must be informed immediately." As diplomatic channels opened between Earth and the Galactic Council, another vessel lurked at the edge of the solar system. The Krell Dominion, a warrior race known for conquering weaker species, had been monitoring the transmissions. Fleet Commander Draz smiled, revealing rows of sharp teeth. "So the Council fears these soft creatures? How interesting. Perhaps we should test these dormant war gods ourselves." The news of alien contact spread across Earth quickly. Some people panicked, but most were simply curious. Governments around the world tried to keep things calm. They set up special teams to talk with the aliens. Jack Collins heard about the aliens on his old radio while fixing his tractor. He didn't believe it at first. Then he saw the footage on his television that night. The Celestial Harmony was clearly visible in the night sky, a bright point of light that moved in ways no human spacecraft could. "Well, I'll be damned," he muttered, taking a sip of his coffee. "Guess we're not alone after all." In Washington, D.C., world leaders gathered to meet the alien delegation. Commander Zexa Talara had chosen to send his most diplomatic team members. They brought gifts of knowledge, cures for several diseases, more efficient energy production methods, and the basics of faster-than-light communication. "Why are you sharing these things with us?" asked the American president. The alien diplomat blinked slowly. "We wish to establish peaceful relations. Your species is unique. We believe a friendly approach is best for all involved." What the high diplomat didn't say was that the Council was terrified. Their scans had revealed more about humans with each passing day. The dormant sequences in human DNA weren't random mutations. They appeared to be engineered. The Council's top scientists believed humans had been designed as weapons by some ancient civilization, then abandoned or forgotten on Earth. Meanwhile, the Krell Dominion had moved closer. Their massive warship now hid behind the moon, watching and waiting. Fleet Commander Draz had received new orders from the Krell High Command: capture human specimens and determine if they could be used as weapons or if they should be eliminated as a threat. "Begin the operation," Draz ordered. "Take a small human settlement, something isolated where they can't call for help easily." The target they chose was a small farming community in western Ohio, less than 20 miles from Jack Collins's farm. Mary Wilson was hanging laundry in her backyard when she saw strange lights in the sky. At first, she thought it might be the friendly aliens everyone was talking about on TV. Then she saw the red beam slicing through her neighbor's house. She ran inside, grabbed her phone, and dialed 911. "There's some kind of attack happening. Aliens, I think. They're not the friendly ones, she shouted when the operator answered. Before the operator could respond, Mary heard a crash from her front yard. She peeked through the curtains and saw them, tall, muscular creatures with gray skin and what looked like armor. They carried weapons that glowed with an eerie red light. Mary grabbed her shotgun from the closet. She'd never shot anything but targets and the occasional coyote that threatened her chickens. But something deep inside her shifted. Her hand stopped shaking. Her heartbeat, which had been racing, suddenly steadied. She felt calm and focused in a way she'd never experienced before. When the first Krell soldier broke through her door, Mary fired without hesitation. The shotgun blast threw the alien back several feet. The second one fired at her, but she was already moving, diving behind her couch with a speed and grace she didn't know she possessed. 10 miles away, Jack Collins was driving into town for supplies when he saw the strange ships in the sky. He recognized them immediately as different from the Celestial Harmony. These were angular, predatory-looking vessels. Jack felt something change inside him. Memories from the war flooded back, but they were sharper now, more useful. His muscles tensed, and he felt stronger, more alert. He turned his truck around and drove home as fast as he could. There he opened a locked chest in his barn and pulled out his old military rifle. It had been 15 years since he'd touched it, but his hands remembered. As night fell, more Krell landing craft descended on the region. The alien warriors expected an easy victory against primitive humans. What they found instead were farmers, shopkeepers, and office workers who fought with unexpected ferocity. In orbit, Commander Zex Talara received urgent messages from Earth about the attack. "We must intervene," he told his officers. "The Krell don't understand what they're doing if they push the humans too far." But it was already too late. Across the affected region, ordinary humans were displaying abilities that defied explanation. They moved faster, hit harder, and seemed to anticipate the Krell tactics. Some even survived wounds that should have been fatal. The dormant war gods were beginning to awaken, and the galaxy would never be the same. 2 days after the Krell attack began, Jack Collins had gathered 37 survivors in his barn. They came from all walks of life: farmers, teachers, a doctor, and even a few kids. What they had in common was the change. All of them felt it in different ways. "I can see in the dark now," said Bill Johnson, who had been a plumber before the attack. "And yesterday I lifted my entire tractor to save my dog when it got trapped underneath." Mary Wilson nodded. "I've never fired a gun, much before, but now I can hit anything I aim at, and I know when those gray monsters are nearby. I can feel them somehow." Jack stood at the front of the group. He had been organizing them into teams, teaching them basic military tactics. What surprised him was how quickly they learned. People who had never fought before were now moving like trained soldiers. "The aliens have taken over most of Willow Creek," Jack said, pointing to a map spread on an old table. "But they're having trouble holding Greenfield and the area around Miller's Pond. Something about the water there seems to mess with their equipment." Dr. Laura Peters, the town's only doctor, raised her hand. "I've been treating the wounded, and I've noticed something strange. People are healing faster than normal. Cuts that should take weeks are closing in days, and look at this." She rolled up her sleeve to show a scar on her arm. "This was a direct hit from one of their weapons yesterday. Nearly took my arm off. Now it's just a scar." Outside the barn, more survivors arrived every hour. Word had spread that Jack's farm was a safe place. But Jack knew they couldn't stay here forever. The Krell would find them eventually. "We need to hit them back," said Eric Foster, a high school teacher who now carried a hunting rifle with confidence he'd never felt before. "Find their weak spots." Jack nodded. "That's why I sent Kate and Paul to scout their main ship. They should be back soon." Kate Rivera and Paul Green had been neighbors before the attack. Now they moved through the forest like ghosts, their bodies crouched low, making no sound. They had reached the hill overlooking the main Krell landing site. "Count 12 ships," Kate whispered. "And about 100 of those soldiers." Paul focused his eyes and was surprised to find he could zoom in his vision like a telescope. "They're loading something onto that middle ship. Looks like people. They're taking prisoners." Kate felt rage build inside her. With it came a new wave of strength. We have to report back to Jack. Then we're coming back here with everyone. In orbit above Earth, Commander Zex Talara was arguing with the Galactic Council representatives. We must intervene, he insisted. The Krell don't understand what they're doing. If the humans fully awaken their dormant abilities, it won't just be the Krell who suffer. The change might spread across their entire species. The senior council member's hologram flickered. We cannot risk open conflict with the Krell. Send observers only. Document what happens. Zex Talara turned to his science officer after the transmission ended. Prepare my shuttle. I'm going down there myself. Back at Jack's farm, Kate and Paul had returned with their report. Jack organized the survivors into attack teams. They're not expecting us to fight back in any organized way, he told them. That's our advantage. Team 1 will create a distraction here. He pointed to the map. Team 2 will free the prisoners from this side. Team 3 will disable as many ships as possible. Mary, who had become one of Jack's most trusted fighters, asked, How do we disable alien spaceships? Jack smiled. Actually, I think I know. How, Bill, you said your son's drone crashed when you flew it near Miller's Pond, right? And the alien's equipment doesn't work well there either. Bill nodded. Something about the water. Dr. Peters, could you analyze that water? See what's in it? The doctor had already done so, curious about its properties. High mineral content, especially iron and something else I couldn't identify. It has an unusual magnetic field. Jack's plan was simple. They would gather as much of this water as possible, then use it against the aliens' ships. It wasn't elegant, but it might work. That night, 53 humans moved through the darkness toward the Krell landing site. They carried weapons ranging from hunting rifles to kitchen knives. Most importantly, each carried containers of water from Miller's Pond. The attack began at midnight. Team 1, led by Eric, set off homemade explosives at the north end of the landing site. As Krell soldiers rushed to respond, Team 2, led by Mary, slipped in from the east to free the prisoners. Jack led Team 3 directly toward the ships. They moved with surprising speed and coordination, as if they had trained together for years instead of hours. The Krell were caught completely off guard. They had expected terrified, disorganized resistance. Instead, they faced humans moving, with purpose and strange new abilities. Mary's team reached the prisoner hold and broke through the guards with shocking efficiency. Inside, they found 20 humans in cages. Get them out, Mary ordered, then head for the rendezvous point. Meanwhile, Jack's team reached the ships. They began dousing critical components with the pond water. The effect was immediate. Systems sparked and failed. Metal corroded at an impossible rate. Fleet Commander Draz couldn't believe the reports coming in. How are they doing this? They're primitives. His second-in-command looked worried. Sir, the humans, they're not moving like primitives anymore, and our scanners show changes in their biology. Increased neural activity, enhanced muscle density, improved reaction time. Draz ordered all troops to fall back to the main ship. Prepare to lift off. We need to regroup. But by then, Jack's team had reached the main ship too. Bill, using his new strength, tore open a panel on the ship's hull. Jack poured the last of his pond water inside. The ship's engines sputtered and died. From his hidden observation post, Commander Zex Talara watched in amazement. The humans were fighting with abilities that hadn't been seen in the galaxy for thousands of years. His instruments detected the changes spreading through the human population. Not just those fighting, but all humans within a 100-mile radius were showing signs of awakening. It's happening, he whispered to his science officer. The war, gods are waking up. By dawn, the Krell landing site was under human control. 7 alien ships had been disabled. Dozens of Krell soldiers had been killed or captured. The humans had suffered losses too, but far fewer than anyone would have expected. Jack stood amidst the victory, looking not triumphant, but concerned. The changes he felt within himself were growing stronger. He could think faster, move quicker, and sense things he never could before. Looking around at the other humans, he saw the same changes in them. What's happening to us? Mary asked, coming to stand beside him. Jack shook his head. I don't know. But I think this is just the beginning. High above them, Commander Zex Talara came to the same conclusion. The humans had repelled the first Krell attack, but the Krell would return with a larger force. And next time they would face humans who were even further along in their awakening. The war had only just begun. 1 week after the battle at the landing site, the humans had turned Jack's farm into a proper base. They had moved the captured alien ships there and were learning how to use them. More survivors arrived each day, drawn by stories of successful resistance. Jack stood with Mary and Dr. Peters watching as Bill and Eric took apart an alien weapon. I never knew how to do this before, Bill said, his fingers moving with surprising skill. But now it's like I remember it somehow, Dr. Peters nodded. I've been studying our blood samples. Something is changing in our cells. It's like parts of our DNA that were sleeping are waking up. But why now? Mary asked. Why not before? Jack had been thinking about this. Maybe we needed the right push. The Krell attacked us and our bodies responded. Their conversation was interrupted when Kate ran up to them. Jack, our lookouts spotted something. Another ship is coming. But it's not Krell. They all went outside and looked up. A small, sleek ship was descending toward the open field near the farm. It looked different from the Krell ships, smoother, with blue lights instead of red. Get everyone ready, Jack said, but don't fire unless I give the order. The ship landed gently, its door opened, and a tall figure stepped out. It had 4 eyes and greenish skin. That's not a Krell, Mary whispered. No, Jack agreed. It's something else. The alien raised its hands to show it carried no weapons. I am Commander Zex Talara, of the Galactic Council, it said, its voice translated by a small device it wore. I come in peace. I need to speak with your leaders. Jack stepped forward. I'm Jack Collins. I guess I'm as close to a leader as we have right now. Commander Zex Talara looked at Jack with all 4 eyes blinking. You have done something incredible. You have defeated a Krell attack force. No other developing species has ever done that. We had no choice, Jack said simply. May I come to your shelter? What I have to tell you should not be said in the open. Jack nodded, and they led the alien to the farmhouse. Inside, Zex Talara sat carefully on a chair that seemed too small for his tall body. I must tell you about yourselves, the alien began. Humans are not like other species. You have special abilities hidden in your bodies. These abilities only appear when you are in great danger. What you experienced in the battle against the Krell was just the beginning. Mary frowned. You knew about this? Why didn't you warn us when you first made contact? Zex Talara's eyes blinked in a pattern that might have been embarrassment. The council decided it was better not to tell you. We feared what might happen if humans learned about their true nature too soon. And what is our true nature? Jack asked quietly. You were made to be warriors, Zex Talara said. Long ago, perhaps 100,000 years in your counting, there was a great war in this galaxy. We don't know much about it, most records were lost, but some evidence suggests that humans were created as weapons for that war. The room fell silent as everyone tried to understand what this meant. Dr. Peters spoke first. Created? You mean engineered? Yes, Zex Talara confirmed. Your DNA contains complex sequences that do not match natural evolution. They were designed to stay dormant until needed, allowing you to develop as normal beings. But when threatened, these sequences activate, giving you enhanced abilities. Jack thought about how he had been able to lead people in the battle, how his mind seemed to understand tactics he'd never learned. So we're just weapons? Made to fight and kill? Zex Talara tilted his head. You are more than that. Whatever. Beings created you, they gave you free will and the capacity for art, music, love. Those things were not necessary for weapons. Before anyone could respond, Kate burst into the room. Jack, our radar picked up something big, many ships coming from space. Jack ran outside with the others. In the sky, they could see multiple bright points of light growing larger. The Krell, Zex Talara said, his voice grim. They have returned with their main battle fleet. This is not a raid anymore. It is an invasion. Jack felt a strange calm settle over him. How many ships? At least 50, Kate reported. Much bigger than the ones we fought before. Jack turned to Zex Talara. Will your council help us? The alien commander looked troubled. They have ordered me only to observe and report. They fear getting involved in a war with the Krell. So we're on our own, Mary said. Jack nodded. Just like before, but we're stronger now, and we know more. He turned to address the growing crowd of humans gathering outside. Get everyone ready. We need to prepare for a much bigger fight. People moved with purpose, gathering weapons and supplies. Jack was surprised at how organized they were, how smoothly they worked together. It was as if they could sense each other's intentions. Dr. Peters had noticed it too. Jack, I think we're developing some kind of connection, a way to communicate without speaking. Jack had felt it himself, brief glimpses of others' thoughts, feelings that weren't his own. Another sleeping ability waking up? I believe so, she said. Over the next few hours, the Krell ships entered Earth's atmosphere. They spread out, targeting major cities around the world. The small group at Jack's farm could only see a few of them in the distance, but news came in from other survivors, with radios. They're hitting everywhere, Eric reported. New York, London, Beijing, Moscow. But people are fighting back just like we did. Jack wasn't surprised. The same changes happening to us must be happening to humans everywhere. Zex Talara had been monitoring communications with his own equipment. It is as I feared. The awakening is spreading globally. All humans are starting to access their dormant abilities. Is that bad? Mary asked. It is unprecedented, the alien replied. No one knows what will happen when a species like yours fully awakens. A loud boom interrupted them as a Krell ship passed overhead, heading toward the nearest city. Smaller. Craft dropped from it carrying soldiers. They've seen us, Jack said. Get ready. As the humans prepared for battle, Jack felt another change inside himself. His senses sharpened even further. He could see the Krell soldiers clearly, despite the distance. He could hear their movements, smell their alien scent, and somehow he knew exactly how to defeat them. Mary, take 20 people and flank them from the east, he said. Bill, your team needs to disable their landing craft. Dr. Peters, keep the wounded near the barn where they'll be protected. The words flowed from him without thought, a battle plan forming in his mind with perfect clarity. As the humans moved to their positions, Zex Talara watched with growing amazement. They're coordinating without speaking, he whispered to himself. The awakening is accelerating. The Krell soldiers landed and advanced toward the farm. They carried larger weapons this time and wore heavier armor. They expected a difficult fight but were confident in their superior numbers and technology. What they found instead were humans who moved like shadows, who anticipated their every move, who fought with strength and speed no primitive species should possess. The battle had begun, and the war gods continued to awaken. The battle around Jack's farm lasted 3 hours. When it ended, the Krell forces had been completely defeated. Not a single human had been killed, though many had injuries. These wounds were already healing at an amazing speed. Jack stood among the wreckage of Krell ships, breathing hard but feeling strangely energized. Around him, the other humans were experiencing the same thing. The fight had pushed them further, awakened more of their hidden abilities. Did you see what Eric did? Mary asked, coming to stand beside Jack. He moved so fast he was just a blur, and Kate somehow knew exactly where the Krell would attack before they moved. Jack nodded, and Bill lifted that entire ship to trap the soldiers underneath. We're changing, Mary, becoming something else. Commander Zex Talara approached them, his 4 eyes wide with what might have been fear or awe. What I have witnessed today goes beyond anything in council records. You fought as if you had years of training together. We could sense each other, Jack explained. Know what everyone was thinking, what they were going to do next. It made us work perfectly together. The alien commander took out a small device and studied it. The changes are happening faster than I predicted. Your neural patterns are synchronizing across distance, and the effect is spreading. Spreading how? Dr. Peters asked, joining them. To all humans, Zextalara said. Reports are coming in from around your world. Humans everywhere are displaying enhanced abilities, especially in areas under Krell attack. Jack wasn't surprised. Something inside him had sensed this connection with other humans far away. We need to coordinate with them, form a global defense. I may be able to help with that, Zextalara offered. My ship has communication technology that can reach anywhere on your planet. Jack nodded. Let's do it. Inside Zextalara's ship, they set up a communication center. Soon they were in contact with other human resistance groups around the world. Everyone reported the same things. Ordinary people developing extraordinary abilities, successful counterattacks against the Krell. Woman named Lisa Chen, leading a group in what remained of San Francisco, spoke to them via video. We've captured 3 of their ships intact. Some of our people have figured out how to fly them. We're planning to attack their command ship in orbit. That's happening everywhere, said another leader from somewhere in Europe. It's like we all suddenly remember things we never learned. I was a bank clerk 3 days ago. Now I'm leading 200 people and flying an alien spaceship. Jack felt a surge of hope. The Krell thought they were attacking a primitive species. They had no idea what they were really dealing with. Over the next few days, humans around the world coordinated their efforts. They shared discoveries about Krell technology, tactics that worked against the alien soldiers, and ways to use their newly awakened abilities. Dr. Peters had turned the barn into a research lab, studying the changes in human biology. It's fascinating, she told Jack. The dormant sequences in our DNA aren't just activating, they're improving, adapting to the specific threats we face. What does that mean? Jack asked. It means we were designed to evolve rapidly in response to danger. Each battle makes us stronger, faster, smarter. The Krell are literally making us more powerful by fighting us. This same pattern was playing out worldwide. Every Krell attack was now met with fierce resistance from humans who were becoming more formidable by the hour. In orbit, the Krell High Commander was facing an impossible situation. His forces were being defeated on all fronts by a species that had barely achieved spaceflight on their own. They are not what we thought, he told his officers. We must withdraw and regroup. But before the Krell could retreat, human-piloted ships began rising from Earth's surface. The captured vessels, now modified with human ingenuity, attacked the Krell fleet in orbit. Jack was on one of these ships, leading a team from his farm community. Flying the alien craft felt natural to him now, as if he had done it many times before. Target their main engines, he ordered, his thoughts easily understood by the others without speaking aloud. They were all connected now, working as one mind, with many bodies. Across Earth's orbit, similar attacks were happening. Humans who had never left their planet before were now engaging in space combat with skill that shocked the Krell. Commander Zextalara watched from his own ship, sending constant updates to the Galactic Council. The humans have taken the battle to space, he reported. They are using captured Krell vessels with modifications that improve their performance. Their coordination is beyond anything I have ever seen. The Council responded with alarm. This exceeds all projections. If humans can defeat the Krell so quickly, what else might they be capable of? You must continue monitoring the situation, but do not intervene directly. In the space battle, Jack's ship took a direct hit. The vessel shuddered, and warning lights flashed. But instead of panicking, Jack found himself knowing exactly what to do. His hands moved across the alien controls, rerouting power and stabilizing the ship. How did you know how to do that? Asked Bill, who was operating the weapons. I don't know, Jack admitted. It just came to me. This was happening to humans everywhere. Knowledge they couldn't possibly have was surfacing in their minds. Battle strategies, alien technology, even new ways to use their awakening abilities. It all seemed to flow from some hidden source within them. After 6 hours of fierce fighting, the Krell fleet began to retreat. Their losses were massive, their remaining ships damaged. What had begun as a simple invasion of a primitive world had turned into a disaster. Jack and the other human pilots didn't pursue the fleeing Krell. They returned to Earth, landing their ships near major cities to help with recovery efforts. When Jack stepped out of his ship outside what remained of Chicago, he was met by a crowd of humans. All of them showed signs of the change, their eyes more alert, their movements graceful and precise. A woman stepped forward. "Jack Collins, we felt you coming. All of us did." Jack nodded. He had felt them too, a gathering of minds reaching out to his. "The Krell are retreating. We've won this battle. But not the war," the woman said. "They'll be back with more ships, more soldiers." "And we'll be ready," Jack replied. "We're changing, becoming what we were meant to be." Around the world, humans were coming to the same realization. They were not just a young species taking their first steps into space. They were something ancient awakening after a long sleep, remembering skills and knowledge buried deep in their DNA. Commander Zex Tilara, watching these developments, sent one final message to the Galactic Council that day. The dormant war gods are not just awakening, they are remembering who they are. And the galaxy will never be the same. 3 months after the Krell retreat, Earth had changed completely. Humans had rebuilt their cities with amazing speed, using knowledge they now somehow remembered. They had built new ships using a mix of their own technology and what they learned from the aliens. Jack Collins stood on the bridge of a ship called the Earth's Hope. It was much larger than the farm where he had once lived a simple life. Now he commanded one of humanity's first true warships, built to defend their world. "We've detected something at the edge of the solar system," said Mary, who served as his second in command. "Many ships bigger than the Krell fleet." Jack nodded. He had been expecting this. "Tell all ships to prepare, and contact the Council. Representative." Commander Zexus Tilara had remained on Earth after the Krell retreat. The Galactic Council was both fascinated and worried by what humans were becoming. They had sent more observers, and even opened formal relations with the newly formed Earth Defense Alliance. The alien commander arrived on the bridge quickly. "My sensors confirm your readings. It appears to be the main Krell battle fleet. They have gathered their forces from 3 sectors for this attack." "How many ships?" Jack asked, though he already had a sense of the answer. "Over 500, Zexa Tilara replied. "Far more than you faced before." Jack felt no fear. Instead, a strange calm settled over him. Around the bridge, the other humans showed the same focus. In the 3 months since the first battles, their abilities had grown stronger. They could share thoughts easily across great distances. They could learn new skills in hours instead of years. Their bodies had become stronger, faster, more resistant to injury. "We're ready for them," Jack said simply. Earth now had a fleet of 200 ships. Some were captured Krell vessels, others were new designs built by humans. All were crewed by people who had awakened to their true nature. The Earth Defense Council, made up of leaders from around the world, had planned for this moment. Their strategy was already in motion. Ships moved into defensive positions around the planet. Dr. Peters, now the head of human genetic research, contacted Jack from her lab. "Jack, we've made a breakthrough. We've found a way to speed up the awakening process. We can now activate more of the dormant sequences safely." "Is it ready to use?" he asked. "Yes. We've already started the process with the crews of all ships. You should begin to feel the effects soon." Jack didn't have to wait long. Within hours, he felt another change beginning. His mind expanded, connecting not just with the humans on his ship, but with all humans in the fleet. It was like becoming part of something much larger than himself. When the Krell fleet arrived at the edge of Earth's solar system, they found the human ships waiting for them. The Krell High Commander was confident in his victory. His fleet was more than twice the size of the human forces. His ships had been upgraded specifically to fight against the strange abilities humans had shown. "Begin the attack," he ordered. "Show no mercy." The space battle that followed would later be called the Day of Fire. Krell ships advanced in perfect formation, their weapons charging. The human fleet seemed to be in disarray, ships moving in patterns that made no sense to the Krell. But the humans were not disorganized. They were thinking as one mind, moving parts of their fleet like fingers on a hand. As the Krell fired their first volleys, the human ships seemed to know exactly where the shots would go and moved away just in time. Jack felt the battle as if it were happening inside his own body. He could sense every human ship, every crew, member. They were all connected now, sharing thoughts, strategies, and abilities. Now, he said, and the human fleet moved as one. They attacked from angles the Krell didn't expect, using weaknesses in the alien ships that shouldn't have been visible. Human vessels moved with impossible speed and precision. On his flagship, the Krell High Commander watched in growing horror. How are they doing this? They're responding to our attacks before we even execute them. His tactical officer had no answer. The humans seemed to be reading their minds, countering strategies that had been successful for the Krell for hundreds of years. The battle raged for 12 hours. Human ships took damage, but kept fighting. When one was too damaged to continue, the crew would evacuate to another vessel and join their minds to the collective effort. Commander Zex Telara watched from the Earth's Hope, sending constant updates to the Galactic Council. What we are witnessing is beyond anything in our records, he reported. The humans are fighting as a single entity, their minds linked across space. Their coordination is perfect. The Council responded with growing alarm. This development poses significant questions about the future balance of power in the galaxy. Continue monitoring but prepare for extraction if necessary. By the end of the battle, the Krell fleet was broken. More than half their ships had been destroyed. The rest were retreating in disorder, fleeing from the world they had come to conquer. Jack and his crew cheered along with humans everywhere. The victory was complete. Earth was safe. But in the days that followed, Jack noticed something that worried him. The connection between human minds didn't fade after the battle. If anything, it grew stronger. People were changing in other ways, too. Some could move objects without touching them. Others could see great distances or through solid walls. Dr. Peters confirmed his concerns. The awakening is accelerating beyond our predictions. We're becoming something new, Jack. Something beyond human. On the 6th day after the battle, Jack met with Commander Zex Telara in what had once been the United Nations building in New York. Representatives from the Galactic Council had arrived to discuss the situation. The Council is concerned, the senior representative said bluntly. Your species has developed in months what should take millennia. You've defeated the Krell, something no other young race has ever done. And now your abilities continue to grow. Jack looked at the aliens calmly. We don't want war. We only want to protect our world. But you were made for war, Zex Telara said quietly. That is what the evidence suggests. The question is, who made you and why? And what will you become now that you have awakened? Jack had no answer, but deep inside, in a place he was only beginning to access, he felt that the answer was waiting. The knowledge of who had created humans and for what purpose was buried somewhere in their shared memories. As he looked out the window at the rebuilt city, Jack wondered what the future would bring. Humanity had changed forever. The dormant war gods had awakened, and the galaxy would never be the same.